freezing terrace in Hamar in a temperature of -14. And these were the scenes a few weeks later in Oslo.
Olá, pessoal! Sejam bem-vindos ao meu canal. Meu nome é Natália, mas você pode me chamar de Nath. Eu adoro reagir e aprender sobre outros países, especialmente aqueles bem diferentes do meu em termos culturais e econômicos. Então, se você gosta desse tipo de conteúdo, fique à vontade para se inscrever. Vou adorar ter você por aqui. Bom, nesse vídeo eu vou reagir porque a cultura de futebol norueguesa é totalmente diferente. Então é isso, sem mais delongas, e vamos para a reação.
Smoke, flares, flags. This isn't a Champions League night in Istanbul. They're just league games in Norway. Now, you might think Norwegian football is all about Erling Haaland and Martin Ødegaard. And sure, they're world-class talents, as are many Norwegians playing overseas today. But there's so much more to football in Norway. Now, I grew up with English football culture, and Norwegian football culture is, well, it's quite different actually, and it's full of surprises. Since moving to Norway, I've become more and more interested in the domestic game. And in the seasons when I can afford to, I follow my team all around Norway. During that time, I've learned a lot about Norwegian football. Just before we get started, please do check out lifeinnorway.net for all things Norway in English. And if you do enjoy these videos, please consider backing me and the channel on Patreon. Backers get early access to these videos, plus exclusive travel tips from yours truly. Now, from unexpected loyalties to a very special night in May, here are 10 things you need to know about Norwegian football.
Gente, eu confesso que eu estou super surpresa de ver essas imagens da Noruega, né? Porque, tipo, sim, vocês ganharam do Brasil, né? A gente fica triste, claro, mas pelo menos o Brasil perdeu para um time bom que jogou muito bem, né? Então, assim, tudo bem, sem ressentimentos. Vocês foram muito bons. Mas eu confesso que não sabia que vocês tinham uma cultura assim também envolvida com futebol. Então, assim, para mim é muito curioso ver vocês jogando, assim, sabe? Realmente é uma coisa inesperada para mim.
Number 1. It's a summer sport. Let's start with something that surprises a lot of people, even though it really shouldn't. Football in Norway is a summer sport. In fact, I'm just back from a visit to Oslo, where I took in a game in scorching conditions at the height of summer. The season usually begins in April and ends in late autumn. That's because playing through the winter simply isn't practical in much of Norway. So, instead of freezing matches in the darkness of January, you get evening kickoffs in the summer sunshine. At least, in theory. In November, a few years ago, I stood on a freezing terrace in Hamar in a temperature of -14. And these were the scenes a few weeks later in Oslo. There's also a short summer break of 2 to 3 weeks, and that's usually in June. This means that Eliteserien games in July tend to be sparsely attended because that's when most Norwegians are on vacation. Number 2. Many Norwegians support an English team. Ask a Norwegian who they support and you're just as likely to hear Manchester United, Liverpool or Spurs as you are Rosenborg, Vålerenga or Bodø Glimt. Premier League football has a massive following here, thanks mainly to English matches being shown live on Norwegian TV for decades. Many fans have a local team and a Premier League team, and the loyalty to the latter can run deeper. If you travel from Norway to England on a weekend, don't be surprised to see a bunch of Norwegians on board wearing English football shirts. Premier League travel is big business for
Gente, agora eu fiquei curiosa sobre uma coisa. Aqui no Brasil é muito comum, por exemplo, o jogador iniciar dentro de times menores e aí ele vai crescendo até que chama a atenção de, por exemplo, empresários internacionais e aí eles vão para grandes times, principalmente na Europa. Acontece assim, a mesma coisa com os jogadores de vocês? Tipo, eles começam em times menores, locais, e vão crescendo, e aí expandem depois para outros países. Me deixe saber nos comentários, porque assim, eu realmente estou surpresa que na Noruega tem essa cultura, sabe? Eu não esperava isso. E simplesmente com o destaque que a Noruega vem ganhando, né, nessa Copa, tipo, é impossível não perceber que realmente vocês têm uma coisa com futebol também, né? Principalmente pelos talentos que vocês têm.
From Norway these days. Number 3. Away fans aren't a big thing. In Europe's big leagues, away supporters are a loud and visible part of the matchday experience. It's certainly something I enjoyed during my years back in England. But in Norway, not so much. Very long distances, high travel costs, and small supporter groups for some clubs mean that away sections are often sparsely populated. One exception to this is actually for games in Oslo. That's because there are people from all over Norway living in the capital, more so than any other city. So Oslo-based fans of other Norwegian teams usually turn out in force whenever their team plays in the Oslo region. Number 4. Lively fan groups. Now, while the crowds here may not match the size of those in England or Germany, many clubs still have passionate ultras and supporters groups who bring noise, colour and creativity to the stands. Big city clubs like Vålerenga, Brann, Rosenborg and Viking all have active groups who organise chants, flags, coordinated displays and sometimes pyrotechnics, even though these days the use of pyro is heavily regulated and all but banned, and clubs regularly get fined for it. But it's not just the top clubs, smaller teams also have dedicated fan bases too. Overall, the vibe is passionate, but it's mostly family friendly in a Norwegian stadium. Norwegian football culture values inclusion, and many supporter sections welcome all ages and backgrounds. Number 5, local derbies aren't always local. Given Norway's geography, local is a very relative term. Take the Northern Derby between Tromsø and Bodø/Glimt, for example, which I was fortunate enough to actually see in person this year. Those cities are nearly 500 kilometres apart to drive, but it's still the most heated fixture in the north, known as the Battle for Northern Norway. Now, some derbies are truly local, like Vålerenga versus Lyn or Lillestrøm, but others do stretch that definition a bit. That said, you don't have to go far down the system in Norway to find the regional leagues. Norway's top division, Eliteserien, has just 16 teams. Beneath that, there's the 16-team Obos League, and below that, everything is regional. Many clubs are based in tiny towns and villages, giving the game a strong local identity. And this regional league structure, even at the third level, is essential for football to thrive. Number 6, a one-team country again. In the 1990s and early 2000s, Rosenborg dominated Norwegian football. In fact, they were the only Norwegian team I could name, having grown up in England during that time. They were a regular fixture in the UEFA Champions League, getting out of the group stage several times and giving some European giants a fright along the way. Now, those glory days are long gone, but in Trondheim, the memories are very much still alive. However, there is another team threatening to become the new Rosenborg, and in fact, they pretty much already are. Bodø/Glimt have won the league title 4 times since 2020, and at the time of recording this video have reached the group stage of the Champions League for the first time. 7. Women's football has a proud history. Women's football is growing in popularity across the world, but it's been popular here in Norway for decades. The national team has a proud history, including a World Cup title in 1995 and Olympic gold in 2000. That has spread interest in the domestic game across Norway, and it's grown in recent years, with more matches broadcast live on TV and more support from the clubs in the men's game. In recent years, Norwegian clubs have also competed in the Champions League. There's still a way to go, of course, but the foundations are strong. Number 8. The national team is a bit of a roller coaster.
É muito curioso, porque aqui no Brasil, questão assim, de seleção feminina e tudo mais, não era uma coisa muito popular, né? Ele foi se tornando popular mais assim nos últimos anos, e agora, de fato, a seleção brasileira feminina com certeza tem recebido muito destaque, mas é curioso ver como na Noruega já tinha isso, né? Pelo que eu entendi.
Now, the Norwegian men's national team have not qualified for a major tournament since Euro 2000, despite possessing arguably 2 of the world's best players in Haaland and Ødegaard. At the time of recording this video, hopes are high the team can qualify for the 2026 World Cup after a positive start to the qualification campaign. However, there's still a way to go and anything can happen. The women have had more success historically, but have also struggled in recent tournaments. Number 9. VAR is controversial. Like in many other countries, the introduction of video assistant referees, VAR, has not gone smoothly. VAR was introduced to Eliteserien in 2023, and ever since, it's been a constant source of debate and disagreement among players, fans, pundits, and coaches. Supporters complain about the long delays, the lack of transparency, and decisions that still seem inconsistent even after video reviews. Many supporter groups have openly protested against VAR, holding up banners or going silent during matches to make their point. The Football Federation here in Norway insists that the system will improve over time, but for now, VAR remains one of the most divisive topics in Norwegian football. Number 10. The 16th of May is a big night on the football calendar. Back in England, Boxing Day is always a highlight of the football calendar, and it was the day I looked at before any other when the fixtures came out. The full round of fixtures on the 26th of December had a real festive feel to them, and it was always a highlight whoever the opponents were. But in Norway, it's the night before Constitution Day when football takes centre stage. That's the 16th of May, and it's traditionally packed with league fixtures and a festive matchday atmosphere. Many clubs draw their biggest home crowds of the season, and for football fans, the round of fixtures on the 16th is just as important as the parades and festivities the following day. Watch this video next to learn more about those festivities and everything else to expect on the 17th of May, Norwegian Constitution Day. And as always, thank you for watching.
Gente, meu Deus, estou chocada. Não sabia que vocês tinham essa coisa com futebol. Realmente é muito inesperado para mim, porque quando você pensa sobre um país nórdico, né? Quando você pensa sobre a Noruega, você não assimila isso com futebol, você assimila isso com esporte de inverno e tudo mais. Mas realmente é incrível saber isso. Amo quando descubro essas similaridades entre nós, porque o povo brasileiro também é muito doido por futebol, né? Então, assim, descobrir isso realmente é muito legal para mim. Mas eu fiquei curiosa, assim, será que as coisas são muito diferentes? É como acontece aqui no Brasil? Tipo essa questão que eu falei, né, de como eles são recrutados e tudo mais, começa num time menor. Tem muito time, assim, na Noruega, porque aqui no Brasil a gente tem muito, sabe? Então me deixe saber nos comentários que eu fiquei curiosa sobre isso, mas realmente é inesperado para mim. E pelas imagens, pelo que ele fala, parece que é um pouco difícil muitas pessoas irem nos jogos, mas quando vai em Oslo, né, acontece em Oslo esses jogos e fica bem lotado, então é muito inesperado e diferente para mim. Eu não sabia que vocês gostavam disso a esse ponto, tem pirotecnia, tem tudo, assim, parece ser muito divertido. Mas bom, essa foi a minha reação, eu espero que você tenha gostado desse vídeo. Se você gostou, considere se inscrever, vou adorar ter você por aqui. E se você já foi inscrito, não esquece de ativar as notificações. Então é isso, obrigada por assistir esse vídeo e nos vemos na próxima reação. Tchau!